Hello and welcome to Share Stitchery. I'm Catherine Harris, and if you're new here, I do sewing and DIY videos each week. So today I wanted to share with you how you can draft your very own circle skirt and a little added bonus, adding in some pleats for a little extra fullness. So let's get to it.
Bum 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 ba-dum ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum ba-dum bum.
Drafting the waistline. So to start, you need to know your waist measurement or the circumference of your waist and then calculate your radius. You can do the math on the screen or use my handy dandy link down below and it does it for you. Once you know your radius, you are going to get your drafting paper, or in my case, wrapping paper, and you're going to mark those points along the edge of the two right angles, the length of the radius going all the way around. I actually added an additional 10 centimeters to my waist measurement before I calculated the radius so that I could get some additional pleats and make those box pleats. Now we're going to draft the skirt. So you're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to determine how long you want your skirt to be and you're going to make those marks, and you're having the edge of your tape measure at the edge of your waist measurement that you took, so not the corner. And just continue to do that all the way around until you get to the end. Cutting the pieces. So you're not going to be able to fit it selvage to selvage, so you're going to have to fold it out the other way to fit your pattern pieces on. And don't forget to cut your seam allowances unless you've added that to your pattern pieces. So you should end up with one cut on the fold and then two not. So constructing the skirt. Then we're going to stitch the side seams all the way down on the skirt. So the piece that you cut on the fold will be your front, and then you've got the two back panels. And I like to serge the edges here just to finish things off. You can zigzag if you don't have a serger. Installing the zip. So you're going to want to switch to your invisible zipper foot. And then you're going to place it right side down and just pin it in place. If you'd like a more detailed tutorial on installing an invisible zip, I will leave a link in the description down below and a card up here. So we're just going to stitch as close to those teeth as possible, hence the reason invisible. And don't forget to backstitch at the top and the bottom. And you're going to do that for both sides of the zipper. Now we need to finish the rest of the back seam. So you're going to use your fingers and your pins to ensure that you've got the seam exactly matched up where the zipper is, and then just pin the rest of it, and then we're going to stitch down from the zipper all the way to the bottom. So once that is done, it is seamless and you can't even tell it is there. But I kind of like the look of the vintage lapped zippers, even though I favor an invisible zip. So I'm going to stitch around it just to give it a bit more detailing. The waistband. So you're going to cut the waistband the same length as your waist, adding 1.5 inches on a curved edge. You're going to cut two of those pieces and one of interfacing and fuse that interfacing to the wrong side. And then you're going to pin along the top and the 1.5 inches overlap along the bottom. So you want to stitch all the way around here and a little bit along the bottom where the overlap is. So you can see where I've stitched here. You're going to want to clip those curves, and then we're going to flip it right side out. And we're going to give it a nice good press over at the iron. And then we are going to top stitch along the edge here, as close to the edge as we can get. So just like this. Now optional is those box pleats. So you are going to mark out how big you want the box pleats to be, the center and then the two sides, and then you're going to fold them in, meeting at the center. And so I just like to pin these, and then I am going to tack them on, attaching the waistband. So next you can attach the waistband, And you're going to attach to the front, which is the one with the stabilizer, right sides together, and then starting where your stitching ends off, because you do have those overlap pieces. So that will start where your zipper ends start. And you're going to pin that in place. I pin the ends, the middle, and then I get all the pins in so that it's all nice and straight. So you're going to take that to the machine and get it stitched, and it should look like this. And you want to press them up into the waistband for the rest of your seams here to get it ready for your lining. So with the lining, you're going to draft it with the waist, your actual size. So don't draft it with those box pleats. It'll just be too bulky there. And then the back seam, you're going to stitch just from the end to where the zipper would be installed and leave the other ends open. And here I am attaching the other end of the waistband, right sides together, onto the lining. And we're just going to stitch that. Now the finishing touches. So now that we've got the lining installed, we want to secure that waistband in place so nothing shifts. So we're just going to stitch along here, and the way that I do that is I actually feel on both sides, and then I place my pin right along the very bottom of that seam, and then I check it on the other end to make sure it's going through at the same place. And then we're going to top stitch, continuing where we had left off that top stitching on the top and sides of our band, just along the bottom edge here. So just getting it nice and close to the edge and stitching it in place will really secure that band. And you've got no exposed seams. Now we are going to need to install the fastener for our overlap on our waistband and attach the lining in here. And I just stitched the lining in. You can hand stitch it in. I actually went over where my lapped zipper is to secure that in place. And now I'm trying to figure out what color button would look best on this, because we've got a lot of options with this pretty fabric, which is from Minerva. And I am not sure about the brown. I tried the wooden one, maybe cream. I'm liking the white, possibly the mustard color. I think I'm going to go with the white because it gives me more versatility. So we're going to place that in our buttonholer foot. Just attaching that in, and don't forget to pull down the back arm, because that's what tells your machine how far it needs to stitch back. Once it hits that other point, it's going to go back into reverse. So you can see it's going back and forth as it hits that little arm. So once that is done, we are going to attach our buttons. You can attach it by hand or be slightly lazy like I am and use my machine foot to attach my button. So just attach that exactly where it needs to be, same position as your buttonhole. And slide it out there. It's a bit fiddly with a larger button there. And there you have it. With the nice lapped zipper here, and this is what the inside looks like and how I finished it. And once that is done, we've only got one more thing left to do, and that is the hem. So we're going to look at the hem here, and on the lining side I just serged the bottom, but on here we can look at doing a rolled hem. So you're going to want to press that in place and then press it over again, and then stitch as close as you can to the edge of that. Or you can cheat like what I did, and I used my rolled hem foot. I love this thing.
Well, there you have it. A nice easy way to create your very own circle skirt. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on which one you prefer best, whether it's the full circle skirt that gives you all the flair, 3/4, half, or a quarter circle skirt, which is a little bit more classic. So until next time, makers, let's get our Sew-Spiration on.